Today I am dishing up my 7 top neighborhoods in Castle Rock. Hey everyone, it's Alyson with Live South Denver, your real estate strategist and realtor for the South Denver area. Castle Rock is such a fantastic spot. It is one of the few locations that checks off nearly everything on the list. Feels like you live in Colorado? Check. Has a great downtown area? Check. Has all the shops and conveniences? Check. So let's look at my top 7 neighborhoods, and we're going to start with the lowest average price neighborhood and work our way up from there. Now, as always, I put a few filters on the data. We're looking at homes that are at least 4 bedrooms, at least 3 bathrooms, at least 2,800 square feet, and have a 2-car garage. And in general, we're looking at more mature homes. So for the most part, at least built before 2018. Most homebuyers want a 4-bedroom home as their minimum. And it's not because they have these large families. Typically, it's because they're dedicating 1 bedroom to an office. They want to have that spare bedroom, or they're going to combine those. And then the rest is for their typical living space. Generally, only first-time buyers and downsizers are looking at 3-bedroom homes. All right, our very first neighborhood on the list is Founders Village. This neighborhood is fantastic for purchasing on a budget, but still being in a neighborhood that has great locations, some lovely trails, nice places to walk, some good open space around, and yes, even opportunities for mountain views. The other thing I like about Founders Village is that these homes tend to have some really nice floor plans. Sometimes you get into areas where you're getting a home that is lower on the budget, easier on the pocketbook, but the homes are really funky, not so friendly in the layout, right? You're wishing things were placed a little bit more useful, the way you typically would see a home, things that make more sense. Founders Village homes really are useful, normal, things you would expect to see in a home. You get big windows, you get some really nice light, you'll get some wood floors, brick facades. So overall, I really like what is available to choose from in the Founders Village area, and the numbers work out to generally be very nice. Location-wise, the neighborhood's about 10 minutes to downtown Castle Rock and runs around 15 minutes over to retail. Depends how fast you drive, how many lights you catch. The maturity of the area does mean big trees, which is usually a hit with most people. The cons of being in Founders Village, well, you're going to get a home that leans toward being more mature. Those often need more upkeep. You're going to see possibly more electrical issues over time, right? A quirky light bulb that doesn't want to switch on and it's not the bulb anymore, or some other things related to upkeep. Exterior, the siding may need to all be done new. Again, in the next several years, new windows, that can become costly, just things that come with an older home. And you also may catch a glimpse of some power lines in and around the neighborhood. They don't really run through Founders Village. I ruled out the neighborhoods that have a strong vein of power lines that are over in this area, but they do kind of skirt Founders Village. So if you really don't want to be anywhere near power lines, we have to get very specific when you're house hunting, but you might catch a glimpse of them. I did see some homes where there was a thin vein of power lines. I mean, like the wooden pole, just a couple strands running behind a home as it overlooked open space. For a lot of people, they would take the open space rather than worry about that small strand of power lines, but not everyone. So you do have to kind of be on the lookout. Another thing I see in here more than I see in some other neighborhoods is more street parking. And that has to do with a couple things. Families that have a lot of teenagers, they maybe bought these homes before they had kids and the kids are growing up. They only have 2-car garages for the most part over here. So as you're getting 3 drivers in the house or 4, where else are they going to park? Also, as cars have gotten bigger, these garages didn't keep up, so if you have a larger vehicle, they're also going to be out on the driveway or the street. Based on recent sales, average sales price has been $613,000 for an average square foot of 3,400 square feet. Median age runs around 1998 for the community, and for minimum and maximum recent sale prices, we're looking at $525,000 and $775,000. Number 2 on the list is my perennial favorite, the Meadows. These videos will tell you more about why, but in short, you can sum it up with 2 things, location and value. The Meadows nails it on location because it has so much beautiful terrain in and through the community. You've got open space, mountain views, natural trails, not just paved trails. You can catch views of Castle Rock. Overall, it feels like you are living in Colorado. That's true of many parts of Castle Rock, but if you're trying to be in a community with all sorts of amenities, a high level of convenience, the Meadows really kind of buttons all of that up. Its location on the north end of Castle Rock adds to convenience, makes it easier to get in and out, cuts off a little bit of traffic. There are 2 ingress-egress opportunities, which helps if there's an accident on I-25. You've got another way to get out. And you've got the retail core right outside the Meadows too, so you aren't fighting traffic from, say, the south end of Castle Rock to get up to Sam's Club, Whole Foods, etc. No, we don't have Costco yet. That is coming though. So you can see how the location is such a key part to why the Meadows is so popular, and then it delivers huge on value. Here it is, number 2 on the list, and we're starting from the lowest price point neighborhood and moving up from there. Right now, it has an average sales price of $761,000 with an average total square foot of 4,000 square feet per home. And the homes are still fairly new. You're looking at a median age of 2008. Since the homes are fairly new, it means you're getting footprints that don't need a lot of structural remodel, right? They're open, they're light, they're bright. Now, I promise you can find some dogs and some things that really need work. But overall, they're usually lipstick remodels, not deep structural remodels, just because of being severely outdated. And when we look at the minimum maximum price range in the Meadows, we're looking at recent sales from $530,000 to $1.3 million. All right, on to number 3 on my list. We're heading over to the Woodlands. I bet some of you have never even heard of this neighborhood. It is full of open space, has some great views. It's actually nestled right near the Castle Rock. Now, with that great introduction, you may be salivating and thinking, I want to get right into that neighborhood. Show me some homes. Well, don't get too terribly excited. First of all, not a lot of homes come on the market that fit the specs we're filtering for. Over the last 18 months or so, there have been less than 15 homes that have even come to market. And the homes that back to open space tend to have some power lines in view. So if that is something that you are not at all interested in, this neighborhood may not really rise to the top of your list. Now, not all those homes are looking at massive power lines and up really close, but you still have to contend with at least the conversation and the idea of power lines when you're over this way. Homes run a bit older over here. 1998 is the median age. Thanks to the desirable location, all of this open space, the trails, the views when you're out walking, or even the potential views from your home, we do tend to see higher price points. We're $829 for average sales price out of recent history. And the thing is, you're paying a little bit more for a smaller home. So you're only getting on average 3,700 total square feet. And the price range really can run the gamut. On the low end, we can be down at $620. And on the high end, if you're on open space, have a nicely updated home, probably run a little bit larger. And if you do not have power lines really in view, they're far from the distance, maybe they're kind of hidden on your lot, you're going to be on the high end, which is right now running about $1.25 million. Next up, neighborhood number 4, Plum Creek. Now, Plum Creek is a fairly substantial area on the map. We're looking primarily at kind of the golf course area in Castle Rock. I'm looking at a little bit tighter niche. That is my favorite area. We're looking at the streets around McCracken, Saline, Peninsula, Diamond Head. That little bubble is a gem of an area in Plum Creek. The opportunity for views is wonderful. You're either usually along the golf course, you can have views over to the mountains, you get a lot of open space, nice big view corridors. And the thing I really love about being over in Plum Creek, these last few neighborhoods, we've kind of mentioned power lines, hit or miss, depending on where you are. There's really nothing about power lines to worry about over here. Another added bonus is the HOA fees are incredibly low. Like, there's hardly anything to pay every year. So you have these really beautiful homes, some great views depending on which street you land on. You're not paying much for HOAs. And the home sizes, the prices are really quite spectacular. Let me just dig into the stats because I think you're going to love it. The average price point over here, around $831,000. The average size home, 4,400 square feet. The median age, they're still pretty new. We're looking at around the year 2000. So yes, that does mean some of them might need some lipstick, a little freshening up. The tones, the wood tones might be outdated, but these are still some really nice homes. And the other thing is not all of them are production homes. So when you have some custom touches, these aren't the more quirky custom homes. There's some very nice homes in here. And on the low end, we're looking at $650,000, $700,000, and on the high end, really only about $1.1 million. So the reason I talk very specifically about these streets and this area in Plum Creek that I like so much is because it's quiet, it's tucked away, but if you're looking at the Plum Creek area as a whole, it does have some cons and some things to watch for. There is the main road that runs through Plum Creek, and that's going to bring along a lot of car noise, some noise pollution, and there are a lot of homes that back right up to this road or front this road. And the ones that front this road, it's because they back to the golf course. So you'll have this nice view over the golf course. You might even have mountain views, but literally a stone's throw, a little kid's stone's throw. I'm not talking a big man throwing a baseball. I'm talking very close to this road is the front of your home and your driveway, and so much noise overflowing. Some houses are siding right up to this road. And I mean, we see this everywhere, but I am such an advocate for trying to find a place that's going to resell easy, right? I don't want you near road noise. I don't want you near power lines. I don't want you near any place that sells pot, which we don't generally have in Douglas County. I want you far enough away from the railroad tracks that that's not an issue, right? I want the best ROI for you. And for Plum Creek, this little area is one of the best spots to be in. Okay, we are rounding out to our top 5. Number 5 on the list is Red Hawk. It's another golf course in the Castle Rock area. Castle Rock is really known for a fantastic golf lifestyle. Even if you don't spend all of your weekends golfing, if I'm talking to some families here, I know sometimes the one spouse doesn't want to be a golf widow to the other, but it does not have to consume all of you for you to enjoy the fact that you can back to open space, back to something that's manicured, and really have someone taking care of what you're looking at visually, maybe not have a neighbor behind you. So Red Hawk offers so much of that. The homes are really woven in and around the golf course. It really offers some lovely opportunities to just kind of give up most of what you'd have to maintain and offer added privacy. Location-wise, Red Hawk is literally just south of the Meadows. It's adjacent to it. It is not part of the Meadows. You don't get the benefits of the Meadows unless you make friends with someone in there and they invite you to the pool, invite you to events, but you are not part of the Meadows, which means you don't have to pay their HOA dues. The dues in Red Hawk are much lower. For most people, the draw to Red Hawk really is living in and around the golf course. There are a lot of avid golfers in there. I have some clients who front to the course and back to just about 270-degree views of the Front Range, Castle Rock itself, including the Castle Rock and the town. And it's a pretty dynamic spot that they have. Not everyone has something that epic, but it does exist. So what are the cons to Red Hawk? Well, first is that being on a golf course means you have to contend with the not so good golfers or the ones having a bad day, getting a golf ball in your yard, possibly in your window, and you do have to deal with the repair. You don't get to go after the golfer and tell him it's his responsibility. But your plus is that you are on a golf course. You have some open space behind you. You have a view corridor. Now, if you see a house online that says it's on a golf course, not just even Red Hawk, just in general, on a golf course, and you click on the map view of that, right? You're just looking at the green map and you see green behind your home and you think, look at all of that open space. Sometimes the map, because it's not 3D, can lie to you. And you need pictures or you need to see it in person. Because of our rolling terrain here, you might just have a big old berm right behind your house, nothing but a wall of grass. And you may not like that. You may not want that. And that is a harder home to resell. So we have to watch for that if it's not something you like. Now, it offers you a ton of privacy. If you're someone who likes to hot tub with fewer clothes on than your neighbors might like, it could be good for you. That is something that comes up when I show homes. So there's not always a bad thing to that, but just watch for the different components of open space, golf courses, the land here, because our terrain does roll. I touched on the HOA dues not being high. That's a huge plus. The con to that is there are really no amenities in Red Hawk. So if you're hoping for a community that offers more than just a trail system to walk through, you wanted a pool, you wanted some tennis court, something of that sort, That's not part of the HOA. But you do have Red Hawk Ridge Golf Community, and you can get onto that course and play that anytime you would like. It's open to the public. The fees vary based on residency, age, season, etc. Red Hawk Ridge Drive does bisect the community, the neighborhood. So you do also have to look for where homes lie because, again, I'm anti-road noise. It's not good for resale. The thing is, some of the homes with the most amazing views are on the road because the community tends to have a rise to it. So if you're on this side of the road looking that way, the view will be amazing. You want to get up a little higher and not be close to the road to get a better view or oriented just a little bit different way. Now, if you're not one who minds road noise, that's okay. Just make sure you get the best deal on the home so that you're still making money on resale. Related to noise, on the east edge of Red Hawk, it gets very close to the train tracks that run through Castle Rock. It's very hard to live in Castle Rock and not hear the train. It's kind of part of the culture. People talk about it. They don't mind it. But the closer you are to the track, the noisier it can be. The train does not run on a schedule. We cannot schedule showings around when the train's going to run so that you get a feel for how noisy it's going to be. We wish we could. So you just kind of got to take it and run with it, roll with it, maybe see a home a few times. But just know that on the east edge, it's closer to the tracks and will be noisier. The location of Red Hawk overall is really good. You're not far from downtown. You're very close to the retail center. You're outside of a really large and expensive HOA with some good home choices and lots of open space to choose from with an average recent sales price of $833,000. The homes are pretty big too because we're seeing the average total square foot in recent sales in at 4,300 total square feet. The minimum maximum range is coming in at $650,000 on the low end and $1.175 on the high end. All right, we are coming around the bend to the last two neighborhoods on the list to round out the top 7. These get a little more unique. We're getting into some semi-custom territory. These are definitely some beautiful communities. Number 6 on my list is Escava. Now, Escava is actually adjacent to the Woodlands. Sits a little bit to the east. It's in some really rolling, unique valley peak kind of terrain. These are both semi-custom and production homes. The production homes were built by Ingle Homes. They're no longer in business, but they were a small local builder. The production homes have a very contiguous look and feel to the semi-custom homes. And if you ever have a chance to tour, look at, maybe want to purchase one of these semi-custom homes, you'll find some of the semi-customs were built right into the lot, built into the terrain around it, which makes them so unique. When you enter Escava off Highway 86, it's really a jaw-dropping view because you have these gorgeous homes sitting back in the trees with these trees framing a gorgeous picture of the Rocky Mountains, which in the wintertime are kissed with snow. For me, I've been here decades and decades, and it still doesn't get old. It's really gorgeous, and it sets the stage for what you're going to see inside the neighborhood. Now, I have to jump immediately to the con of Escava. It's really the only one, which is before you get to the entrance of Escava, some people might be tempted to not even go in because leading up to it, there are these massive power lines along the exterior edge and in the neighboring community. The thing is, when you get inside, they virtually disappear because of just the way the terrain drops, the trees are so big, and the power lines go around the edge and they're waning off. They're getting smaller on this side of the road. The large power lines are in the neighborhood across the street and they just continue. They're a double strand and they are massive heading north-south. But it can be a little bit just jarring to see these power lines right on the edge of Escava on this community. And you're thinking, I don't want any part of that. Well, it is tough to be the homes that are on that edge and right under those. But when you get inside, you don't see them. You have no idea they're there unless you're kind of on the outer edge, on open space, and you can see them. This neighborhood is very quintessentially Colorado feeling. The exterior home design, the interior home design, the rich, dense trees, the way they've built the trails, the terrain, the opportunity for mountain views. It's a fantastic neighborhood if you can get in for either the production home or the semi-custom homes. Now, having the homes built with the land comes with some pluses and some minuses. I have seen many of these custom homes, and how my clients feel about them varies. It really depends on the home, right? Because they are so unique. My clients tend to prefer the ones that back to open space. But there's a really rich beauty about the ones built into the land. The challenge with the ones that are kind of built into the lot, the land of the deep slope in the backyard, is that you don't get a lot of backyard. You're really looking at this amazing, fantastic boulder wall, and your yard is very shallow. You kind of walk outside, not on a walkout basement, on an in-ground basement. So you walk out from your main living level onto just the most decked out flagstone patio generally, maybe a sliver of green, and then just a wall of stone or a wall of boulders. So it's very majestic. It is not cheap. It is not difficult to look at, but it is still kind of just in your face. And for some people, it can feel claustrophobic. Not true of every house. They're not all built this way. I've been in ones that have these beautiful walkout yards. You're overlooking open space, trail, trees. The neighbors walk by a little farther away with their dogs. So each one's a little bit different. Because of building with the terrain, some of them are actually multi-level, meaning you've got some step downs for a living room that's sunk in here and then a level that's up here. So you can find homes that aren't just one level or two level. So it is a very unique neighborhood, custom, semi-custom all the way. Really beautiful finishes, very unique. Average price points running $1.3 million, and average total square foot size is running 5,100 square feet. Again, my only con, those power lines, and if you're not near them, wouldn't think twice about them. Homes are on the newer side of things around 2005. On the minimum and maximum, we're seeing the production homes run under $1 million, so around 900,000. And then we're seeing around $2 million on the higher end for those semi-custom and custom homes. Take a peek at this bonus property. If you're wanting something that's more in the 30 plus acres, 40 plus acres, but still want to be closer to town, it can be had in Castle Rock. Now, the sticker price may be a little shocking, but this is not the most expensive one, and you can find them for even less. But this one's actually pretty close to town. Just wanted to throw a little bonus in for you. Now, these and most properties that get into the large acreage size are gated. I'm not going to be skirting past someone's gate or falsely showing a property to get in, but I did want you to see what could be. Now, let's get on to the last one. I love this community. Keene Ranch is absolutely gorgeous. Number 7 on the list, rounding out our most expensive average sales price. These are all homes on an average of 5-acre lots. So we're talking mega privacy from your neighbors, big views. We are still inside Castle Rock boundaries, but we're pretty far south. That acreage will definitely cost you. $1.72 million is current average sales price, and we're ranging anywhere from $1.3 to $3 million right now. Not only does Keene Ranch deliver big time on privacy, the views are outstanding. Nearly every lot gives a view of the front range from either inside the home, on the deck, or somewhere on those 5 acres. I find it hard to find something to complain about or a con to the Keene Ranch area, but since I've worked pretty hard to have something for all of the others, which there actually legitimately are, I'll try to find something for Keene Ranch too. Since all of these homes are custom homes, what you will find is that some of the tastes are a little quirky, particularly in the older ones. When I look at them, I see that some of them have wood tones that aren't popular. We'll see some dark cherries, or we'll see mixes of tones that don't work. We'll definitely see some outdated tile selections. When you put together all of the personalizations that come with building a custom home, particularly on an older one, it can quickly add up to 6 figures plus that needs to be put into a home that you purchase to really get it up to today's style aesthetic. And you certainly aren't getting a home for less than 1.2, 1.3, probably more. And it's going to depend a lot on the views, right? You could still get a $1.5 million home that needs a full redo. And it's going to depend on what do you have in terms of privacy, view, location. I will say, because these are custom homes, you generally have really good structure and bones, and it fits with the theme of the area. These are all rustic ranch, mountain farmhouse style. You're getting big open floor plans, big windows, peaked roof lines. You're not getting Santa Fe style. You're not getting mid-mod style. They all really fit the aesthetic of the area. So you're not having to come in and do hardcore structural work. It's a lot of lipstick work, but we know in homes this size, redoing kitchens, redoing baths, redoing floors does add up. I mean, the average square foot is 6,400 square feet on these homes. So if you are trying to go all hard surface on the main floor and some sort of hard surface in the basement, that could cost you a pretty penny. Keene Ranch is slightly secluded, but it's really not much farther to get from there to the retail core than it is from, say, Founders Village. You're still looking at around a 15-minute drive for both. So I wouldn't say that's too much of a con. However, because of the winding roads and just where Keene Ranch is, it may feel like you're a little farther off the beaten path. You're certainly going to drive a little bit farther for a grocery store than you are from any of the other locations that we've noted. But with what's coming in on the south end of Castle Rock here soon, with where the Costco's coming in, all the new retail that's going to be by Dawson Trails, it's going to cut down a ton on the commute. The other big con, I will say, but this is true not just of Keene Ranch, but any remote acreage property, if you have a long driveway and it's not heated, which I have yet to see a home have one in here, you have got a lot of shoveling to do, especially if your driveway is north facing, because anything that's north facing or not melting in our sun, it needs to be addressed right away or it's an ice slick all winter long. So you either need to hire a service or get a good machine and plan on putting that work in. If you move out to Keene Ranch with teen boys or teenagers, not a problem. If you're moving out to Keene Ranch thinking you're giving yourself a quiet, secluded, early retirement, but you don't want to shovel, plan on hiring a service and ask them to come out on a call and not at some, 2-inch minimum, because you can certainly, especially on a north-facing driveway, have an ice slick start at a 1/2 inch. All right, that wraps up my top 7 list of best neighborhoods in Castle Rock. Here are some more videos about Castle Rock just for you. If you want to chat more about Castle Rock, buying or selling inside of it, please reach out. I am more than thrilled to connect. And I will see y'all next week.